Okay. This first song is called Go Down Moses, and I wrote it years ago. I guess it probably in 2002, and thanks to Brian here, we perfected it and brought it into the Bibb City Ramblers, and we're going to play it for you, so egatoid. 1, 2, 3. Go down, Moses, go down to the riverside, part those waters, give my soul a place to hide, 'cause I'm lonely and I need somewhere to stay. Yes, I'm lost now and I need direction to find my way back home. Red Sea's parting and I can't get left behind, I beg your pardon. Solitude ain't no friend of mine, I got a weakness, I feel it in my bones. I can't keep this up, I got to find my way back home. Save me, Jesus, save my soul from this hell, my heart it freezes, and I do not tarry well. Reach your hand down, take hold of mine. Give me a plan now, or give me a sign to find my way back home. Well, go down, Moses, go down to that riverside, part those waters, give my soul a place to hide. Cause I'm lonely and I need somewhere to stay. Yes, I'm lost now and need direction to find my way back home.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Minstrels on the Block. You can see we've added another person. By section 3 we're going to have 6 more people up here. No, just kidding. Reintroducing Dan Davidson from season 1. Now, Brian Fowler, you've told us about your beginnings. Now you've got Space Seed, Bibb City Ramblers, and some Hawkwind, things like that. You've got quite a few projects going on. So, tell me about the formation of the three bands?
Okay. Well, Space Seed, basically how that happened is I went to see Space Seed open for Hawkwind in a few years back, and met John Pack. He's a guitar player. He's influential to me as a guitar player, and he's a close friend. Mm-hmm. And he helped me and gave me a lot of opportunities to play with members of Hawkwind. I did not record with Hawkwind, but I have been on recordings with two of the members.
Right.
On three albums. Mm-hmm. Three albums that are, that were produced partly in England and partly in the U.S.
Wow.
And good album. The last one has, I don't know if anybody ever heard of Double Drive. Had Josh Sattler, had Bob Harvey of Jefferson Airplane, Bridget Wishart, Harvey Bainbridge. I played lead guitar. I've always liked rock and roll and space rock. I grew up in bluegrass, always liked it. Went actually when I was 13, I ordered a Hawkwind record. It's called Road Hawks. I remember driving my bicycle when I was 13 home from Kentucky, and my little basket had a Hawkwind album. I showed that to Dan, had a gatefold, and had this crazy looking light show. And I seen this guy holding a saxophone, which is Nick Turner. And Nick Turner is one of my heroes. Great singer, fantastic player, and probably one of the most influential, other than Bill Monroe, to me, and it kind of morphed my music the other way. Nick even mentions Space Seed in Record Collector, and talks about how nice of guys we were in working with us. Again, I was part of the opening act during that particular tour, but I was a part of two tours with Space Seed. Played at Princeton, went up the East Coast, did some different stuff. But the Bibb City Ramblers was started. Again, y'all hear the name Will Docker. I think he's got his hand in everything. Hey, Will, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, Will?
One day I come home, and on my door there was this weird picture of this stubbled guy with a little hat. His head looked giant, but the hat was little teeny. Looked like his head was like Charlie Brown's head. And it said the governor was back in town and had him picking a guitar. Governor. And I was like, that's Dan Davidson. And he put Dan's number on it. And I'd played with Dan and with Trip Wrigley in a band called Porch Dogs. Generally, I get hired out to play with a few bands in town. And Bluegrass Review had me in to play at Country's last week. And Dan... So I called Dan, and I said, do you like to get together and pick? And I had just made this Fountain City album, and where I played all the instruments myself, and it was time, after I'd written a lot of songs, to bring in Mr. Davidson, and he had written as well. And we got together, hit it off. We spent 6 months in my shed actually recording, writing, demoing, and we come up with, me and Dan have written, I would say, 80 songs at a minimum. Together, we've got brand new songs that are being put together now for the new album that we're doing, and like I said, I've worked with Dan for a long time. Bibb City Ramblers 4 years old. We've played major festivals with Larry Keel, Snake Oil Medicine Show, Dread Clampett. I mean, the list goes on. We've been a fairly successful group, and we seem to be, being that our exposure is going up, being that we've been in some major magazines. San Francisco Blue, the Bob Harvey with the fellow with Jefferson Airplane. I met him, believe it or not, in Saudi Arabia. He was a journalist and was in the same tent. So he borrowed some tapes. I had some Hawkwind, some Bill Monroe, and alas, I had a Jefferson Airplane album or tape, and he's like, I used to play with them. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then later on, because he wasn't with them during the heyday, he was with them, and he was with a band called Holy Mackerel with Paul Williams, who was in the Phantom of the Opera movie, and done some other things, Slippery Rock String Band. And so when I got back to the States, me and him recorded in '95 with Robert Richardson and Rebecca Richardson at the time, and demoed some stuff. And then with Mike Childry, we had an album in 2000 called Idiot's Vision that used a lot of the local artists. John Davis did some smoking guitar work. Mike Childry, one of the great bass players in the area, was on the album. John Joyner. The immortal John Joyner, one of my buddies. If you're watching this, John, how you doing? Look me up, holler. I ain't seen you in eons. That's basically the three bands. Right now, Bibb City's pretty much 100% what I'm doing. Take that back. With Theater of Mind, my friend Brian Vaughn, who it lives in California, and I flew out there to the Bay Area and recorded some stuff with him in 2003. And he was on Skip Spence's Land of the Sun on Sundays Records, and was also they did some stuff on a X-Files soundtrack, and the last three albums Skip Spence recorded while he was alive. Brian has those, and he's mastering those to be released. I'm not sure who's going to put them out, what record label will do those. But Brian is one of the greatest synthesizer players I've played with. He's awesome, and we're doing an album, and Will Dockery's a part of it. He's on a few of the songs, and it's a space rock epic that takes you on a voyage to the planet Cydonia that gets frozen, and basically all the scientists are frozen except one, and it's through his viewpoint looking at the little blue hole at Earth and wondering what in the world he's there for. So I go from bluegrass and traditional backgrounds, and I've also done some experimental things to keep me interested, like in music. I've written 600 songs at this point. I'm on 20 or 30 albums, many compilations, movies. I can't even keep up with it all. I just brought a bag of stuff. I'm starting to keep it now, which I didn't keep anything for years. Now I wish I had kept, recordings, films. I did a USO tour in Saudi Arabia, playing for the wounded with NMCB 24. Playing for all the wounded soldiers. We went around and played and tried to put smiles on some people's faces. That it was a tough gig for them. Tough gig for me, but no, it was an easy gig for me because I got to play the mandolin. Actually, I left my underwears and things I really needed over there and stuffed my mandolin in my sea bag and got recalled. And I was with the Seabees, not in the Navy, so I was handed an M16 instead of a mop. So it was an interesting turn of events for me, but it changed my life for the better. And it's just been I met Bob over there, just part of the music thing. God has a special plan for me, and I feel like if I just continue to follow the path and continue to pick music, I've wrote a song this week. I wrote one last week. I should have been working yesterday, but I sat around with a video and popped a bunch of videos out and tried to write songs. So I love music, and thank God I have a great family that supports me and in my insanities, and great friends like Dan and Jenny and John Pack and Bob Harvey and I thought Gabe Holland too at one time would be the four muses I've had that made me want to do music and inspired me to go a different path.
Well, now Dan here, Bibb City Ramblers, I understand that you guys are currently working on a project.
Yeah, we've actually got new material that's in the works for a new record. Some stuff that Brian and I have written together, some stuff that we've written separately, some stuff that Jenny and I have written, some stuff that Jenny and I and Brian now have written together. So it's going to important thing for us in this band is that we encourage everybody to write material and to be part of the songwriting process. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more fun that way when everybody's involved and has their part, their stake in it.
And wider creativity.
Mm-hmm. And the new record that we're going to do is going to be basically, it'll have Brian and myself and Jenny on it, and then we're going to also have just some special appearances. Wildman Steve will be on it, doing percussion and washboard, stuff like that. And pretty much a lot of the members that you've seen in the past will probably be making reappearances on certain tracks. We're going to treat every song like its own special thing and go from there with it. But
Wildman Steve, he is one of was a radio disc jockey and still is for many years, and I think the baddest washboard player there is on earth, period.